Hey everybody, it's the A-Team back here in San Francisco, Thursday evening. And Sammy, I think there's been a little bit of CTE news that we need to cover. Tell us a little more about it, man. We had Ken Stabler, obviously the former Raiders great, recently died, found that he has CTE. And also we had an incident today. Just tell us a little more about it.
Yeah, it was kind of bizarre. Chris Nowinski, who is the executive director, I want to make sure I get this right, of the Concussion Legacy Foundation. He's one of these, when players, former players pass away and they want their brains donated, a lot of those brains go to Chris Nowinski and his foundation. A few months back, I did a story on Michael Keck, a high school kid who grew up in Harrisonville. His brain was donated. Chris Nowinski is one of the people that they work with. He's knee deep and has been for a long time in this kind of work, and he showed up to the NFL's, basically their concussion press conference and kind of crashed it. Basically called out the doctor that they had up there for, saying that there was no proven link between CTE and football, and basically said it was a shame for the families whose, loved ones are dealing with this. And kind of joked that he'd be blackballed now and, never invited back to that press conference. So, I don't understand why the NFL would keep doing this, in some ways. But this whole thing, what it all boils down to is, in my view at least, a long game that the NFL is playing to where nothing matters. The NFL can stall a little bit until there's a test developed to find CTE in living people. That's the whole thing. That's the holy grail. And until that happens, lawyers can bicker and go back and forth. But once that happens, you can have a baseline test before a season, see what's in there, have another test after the season, see what's changed, and go from there. But until that happens, we're going to keep getting stuff like this all the time. But it was certainly one of the big topics today.
Yeah, and I do think we can agree that at some point that test will be found because NFL has too much money and there's too much riding on it.
Yes.
I think if there were a test for it, would you agree if there were a test for it, maybe people would be a little more open to playing, like moms? Do you know what I'm saying? Would that make moms feel safe?
I think it would, absolutely. Assuming the test, the price comes down to, if the test is like $50 or something, then you've got to do that. And then moms can get like real-time information in some ways, real-time information about what's going on. And absolutely. I mean, I've got a little boy and another on the way, and this is something I think about a lot about playing football, and that would certainly, it's not just moms, it's dads too.
Yeah, I know.
That would certainly, ease my mind a little bit if we had something like that.
For sure. Sammy, tell us what you wrote about tomorrow's paper.
I wrote about sports, like the Super Bowl in some ways, like we talk about it like it's a game, or it's Cam Newton and his ability going against this great Denver defense and all that stuff, but it's a TV show. It is an absolute TV show, and it's in a lot of ways the most important TV show in American history. It's changed the culture. It's propped the NFL up. That's a big reason why the NFL is leapfrog baseball, and I would say probably boxing, and some people might even argue horse racing in the 50 years that there's been a Super Bowl is because of how great it looks on TV. So I got a hold of a lot of people that have been involved in that growth, and I think they had some interesting things to say. What about you, Therese? What did you write about for tomorrow?
Send it right back to me. Got an interesting story on Brad Childress and Matt Nagy, Chiefs' new co-offensive coordinators. I talked to a lot of people about them, including Bill Polian, so you're going to want to check this out, about why they think that this is going to work. Here's a hint. It's got a lot to do with Andy Reid. And also, my second story was on the game itself, just on how the head coaches, Gary Kubiak and Ron Rivera, had to give up a little bit and give their players and assistants room to thrive, and that's what they did. So be sure to check that out on kansascity.com. Be sure to keep checking out these videos. We're going to be out here all week, baby. So for Sammy and the rest of the A-Team, I'm Therese. We'll see you guys next time.